Good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Weishuhn. If you enjoy real-world hunting and fishing talk, you're really going to enjoy listening to my good friend, Luke Clayton, and his guest for the next hour.
This is David Fox, and welcome to Outdoors with Luke Clayton and Friends. Luke has been a recognized outdoors writer for the past 3 decades and writes for a host of outdoor publications. Luke pens a weekly newspaper outdoors column that appears in over 40 Texas newspapers. Luke is on the pro staff of Pyramid Air, your one-stop shop for everything air gun related. Smoking techs, electric smokers, feel free to contact Luke through his website, catfishradio.org. Now let's join Luke and his guests for this week's show.
Well, friends, it is now Campfire Talk time with Mr. Larry Weishuhn, as it has been for the past 20 years. Larry, thank you for being with us, buddy.
My absolute pleasure, and 20 years have gone by in a great hurry, Luke.
Oh, yes.
I'll tell you what, it is amazing that now, but this I have to tell you, as I try to do every time, about time we close out my segment, this is the one thing that I look forward to every week is spending time with you around the campfire, whether it's a real campfire or so very often a virtual campfire. And it's so saying, you know, I've been very fortunate over the years. I've been involved with the Dallas Safari Club since 1987 and long served as their ambassador and their conservation education, hunter advocacy, just coming off absolutely fantastic convention down in Atlanta, Georgia. Lots of smiling faces. Got to spend a fair amount of time this time with Mr. Steve Hornady as well, too, with Hornady Ammunition or Hornady Manufacturing. Of course, they're accurate, deadly dependable, and the ammo that you and I used exclusively. And Stealth Vision. I got to spend some time with Dr. McCall and Joe Cunningham and Matt Burgess there as well, too, at the DSC convention. And they're, of course, they're from there around Crockett, Texas, just not that far from you. And then had a little bit of time to spend some talk a little bit about handgun hunting with lots of people and tell them all about the Taurus Raging Hunters that I shoot these days. So it was an absolutely fantastic convention. Now looking forward to a last day of hunting in Texas for whitetail deer until next fall with the the MLD season ending on the 28th this weekend. So, you know, it's time to go fishing and a few other things. I'm not quitting hunting yet. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But, you know, so many great things going on and the outdoors this time of the year, just fantastic to be out there.
You nailed it, Larry. You'd mentioned fishing. Yeah, I reconnected with a longtime friend of mine, Donnie Rice, near Cedar Creek Lake down that way. Donnie has a lot of land down there and bottomland and a 280 acre lake. It was gravel pits back in the 50s. So we're going to get our buddy Jeff Rice on, try to get him on maybe in the next segment if I can catch him. Talk about a fishing trip that we used jug lines with Donnie, and oh my gosh, we caught a ton of catfish. But when you get up here, we'll want to take you over there and run around and look at all that bottom land. It's a pretty awesome place, and maybe go catch a catfish. So, but now you're heading out to England, I believe, right?
I am for a fact. England, I'm going there actually on March the 1st, and I'm going to be there for a few days hunting with Stefan and Sophia Bengtson with Scandinavian Pro Hunters and a friend of mine from over around Midland, Odessa, and Mr. John Landgraf. And we're hunting for the really unique two little deer species. One of them doesn't have antlers, and the other one does, but one of them is the Chinese water deer. Now, these are originally from the area around China, and they probably weigh about, maybe 40 pounds or so. They don't have antlers. They actually have upper canine teeth that look like rather long fangs. So really cool little animal. And then the other one is the Muntjac, and the Muntjac is kind of from the same area, kind of from the Far East there, and they do have antlers, but they also have what look like fangs. So really looking forward to that. I've never had a chance to hunt either one of them. I say that. I was hunting roe deer in England several years ago, and we did look for Muntjac, but unfortunately couldn't find one in there that we were in. But I am really looking forward to that hunt. they're such a unique little species, and I'm going to try to film a little bit as well too, as much as I can for our Sportsman's Life TV show. So
yeah.
for too very long, people will be able to probably right about the time I get back after Mr. Jeff Rice does the production work, they'll be able to see what we're talking about if they haven't seen these animals before.
That's awesome, Larry. I know that'll be an experience. And a deer without antlers and fangs, I've seen mounts. I've seen pictures of them. That would be, you just have to. I have to wonder how in the world it could a deer would evolve it to that. With fangs and no antlers. I mean, that is, being a biologist, you might have some insights on that, but that's wild.
It is, but every once in a while, even with white-tailed deer, how elk and red stag have bugling teeth, upper canines. It's not it is uncommon, but occasionally you will find a white-tailed deer that will have one or two very small little upper canines. And I think what it is that probably most deer at one time, deer species at one time actually had fangs or had upper canines. Mm-hmm. And over the years, they regressed to where you don't see them. Like within white-tailed deer, I've shot 3 of them. I actually shot one on the Choctaw Hunting Lodge that had one of them. The year that were there, and you shot that really nice buck, and my buck had an upper canine on.
I remember that now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they occur probably one in every 750,000 deer, something like that. Wow. So if you did get one, you really, when you shoot a deer, I'm always looking at the teeth to see how old they are, but I also feel up there to see where they got upper canines.
That is unique, and you'd want, I guess, a mount on that. You'd want to mount him with his mouth open. No, that's cool, Larry. It is, and they're only like 40 pounds or so. They're not very big, right?
No, you're exactly right. Both these species, the Chinese water deer and Muntjac, and I think this is the Reeves Muntjac for those who are hair splitters when it comes to species and things like that. But they weigh maybe 40 pounds, and some of them I think are even a little bit smaller. So, it's I talked to Stefan at the DSC convention, and they said it's going to be we'll be sitting in what we would call deer stands, but then we're going to be doing a lot of slow walking through the woods, and trying to see them before they do us and get a shot. And this time I'm actually not taking my own rifle. It's a little difficult to get a rifle into England, and so we're borrowing rifles, but I talked to them about all that, and thankfully we are going to have Hornady ammo, so I know we're going to have some good ammo while we're there.
You better believe that. Well, Larry, we've got a little time here. I'd like to mention an event that you're going to be with me and a bunch of our friends and a bunch of people that are going to become friends is the 28th of March. That's only a month away now.
Yes, sir.
The 28th of March in Greenville, Texas. And, folks, Greenville is about an hour east of Dallas on Interstate 30. The 7th annual outdoor rendezvous we've got planned. And rain or shine, it's at the Top Rail Cowboy Church. And there's a big arena there, and should it rain, we'll move inside, and we'll have it just like we would. But we know it's never rained, Larry, on all these years.
It has not. We've been very so fortunate. But I have to tell you, folks, that really it's the Luke Clayton rendezvous, and Luke's being very modest about that. But they started that thing to honor Luke here, as you said, 7 years ago, and it's grown every year, and the people that show up have an absolutely fantastic time. There's all kinds of things to see, all kinds of things to do. There's usually a little bit of music going on. There's a lot of campfire cooking going on, and more than anything else, I think there are more and more stories being told every year as well, too.
That's true, Larry. We're going to have a lot of catfish this year, a bunch of catfish, and we got a little catfish cooking team. Billy Kilpatrick and Bill Carey and Phil Zimmerman, they love to cook fish, and David Cotton's going to loan them the big, almost like a commercial fish cooker. So they can crank out the fish, and I've been busy cranking in the fish lately. So we're gonna have some. And Marshall Allen Bailey is coming up with Cowgirl Janie. They're going to perform too.
They're coming?
Yes, they're coming, and we're going to move the stage. I say we, the music people. They're going to move that stage more centrally located, not right on top of everybody, but where you can just walk a short distance and sit down and listen to it. Philip Farmer is going to be there with his blues band. They're going to be playing some blues, and the church, Matthew Middleton and that group, they're at the Top Rail Cowboy Church. They'll be there. It'll be a lot of fun. Larry,
it will be.
Yeah, go ahead.
And very quickly, I was just going to say that I heard from Sam Old, and Sam's coming down from Virginia.
That's right.
To be there as well too. So
it'll be.
Well, you talk about an interesting crowd coming in.
Donnie Lynch from Caddo, he'll be there with his squirrel dogs. My nephew, Connor Crockett, he'll be there with his with Boone, his famous his famous deer tracking dog. So, yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, Larry. We are out of time. Thank you for 20 years of fun, of being with us here on Catfish Radio, Larry, and looking forward to many, many more, you know?
I do, too, and thank you, Luke.
Well, friends, Mr. Larry Weishuhn is going to tell you about the finest hunting optics that we have ever found.
Look, these are called Stealth Vision. They come from Crockett, Texas. Dr. John McCall developed them. They're 34-millimeter tubes as opposed to the narrower tubes, so more light transmission. They have a little green light that comes on. That scope is leveled because that's when you want to pull the trigger. They have an optional lighted reticle as well too, and a whole lot of other products. And folks can learn more about them by going to stealthvision.com.
If you enjoy hunting, I want to hook you up with Ultramatic Feeders. You need to know about this company. The website is ultramaticfeeders.com. They are a one-shop stop for everything you need with hunting blinds. They have all kind of different brands of hunting blinds, game feeders, parts for feeders. Again, the website is ultramaticfeeders.com. And friends, I've been using Smoking Tex electric smokers for over 15 years, probably closer to 20 years. You can go online to smokingtex.com. They're not one of your throwaway electric smokers that you can find at some package stores. These things are made to last. I've got one that I've been using for, well, that length of time, probably 15 years. Check them out online, smokingtex.com. Well, friends, I hope you enjoyed visiting with Mr. Whitetail and me. You know, Larry and I have been doing this together, the Campfire Talk, for 20 years this year, every week. But another good friend of mine that I've known that long, or longer, is Dennis Canada. Now, Dennis guides for bass at Lake Fork. He's been doing it for decades. Dennis, thank you, buddy, for being our guest today.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I couldn't be better. We've got over that frigid ice storm of about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and sun has been shining. I've even got out, and no bass yet, but I got out, had a chance to get out and catch some catfish in a big old 250-acre private lake that used to be a gravel pit, Dennis, off the Trinity River. And we, of all things, this is not bass fishing, but we set out some jug lines, baited with cut bait, and caught a bunch of nice blue catfish. So, but this is not about catfish. This is about bass fishing, largemouth bass.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, like tomorrow, it's about to be March.
Yes.
So, a pattern. You've experienced many marches of fishing on Lake Fork.
Oh yeah.
And we don't have time. This radio station doesn't have time all day for me to learn all you know about bass fishing in March, but it's a spring pattern. Give us some ideas, some different scenarios or way to catch fish in March down there, or any bass lake, you know?
Well, Luke, you know, a lot of it always kind of based on the weather.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of patterns. So like we're having a decent warm up, you know, like you said, after the ice thing happened. That water's warming up. And last year it stayed kind of cold, and we had some rain, and the lake was going up and down stuff but the two years prior were similar to this. And those fish, the bucks that are coming up, building the beds and whatnot, they're starting to get really active, and they're going to be moving up even more. The lake's about 3 or so foot low, but that shouldn't affect too much, you know. But a lot of like jerk baits early, you know, out some little secondary points, even some main points where those fish, those bucks are going in, and those bigger fish are starting to kind of move around and stage and get in areas, you know, because I'm telling you, this is probably one of the most prime times. The moon is about the first week of March, so it's probably the primest time of the entire year to catch a giant bass. Okay.
Yep.
And it may not be go catch 30.
Yeah.
If you can fish, you know, you take a fluke or a Cinco or something small, get up shallow, you know, you can go catch a lot of buck bass, you know. But if you're trying to catch those bigger ones, it's really a really good time, and just kind of working your way back, maybe starting out on the points, and then just easing your way back into, you know, where that water's warming up, you know.
Yep.
And maybe on one side of the lake could be different than the other side too. That'll warm up a lot faster. So you just have to kind of know and look for that stuff.
Yep. Would you be fishing as a rule? That is the north side of the lake more this early in the spring as a rule?
Well, those north ends are typically shallower, and I've done it so many times. You'd be down here, be on the south ends or some of these big deep water coves on the main body, and you may have 50, 51 degree water, and I've literally moved at lunch and gone, you know, up to the northern parts, and the thing be 57.
Yeah,
literally,
right.
like, and immediately start catching them, and then of course, boom, you're locked in there until that other water, you know, starts to warm back up. But that's a lot of the key, is look for that water temperature that's 4 or 5 degrees warmer, and I mean, it makes a huge difference in the activity.
Yeah, they respond to that quickly, don't they?
Oh, they do. Yep. They do.
That reminds me, I have to tell this quickly, but back for about 14 years, I did a weekly fishing tips column for the Dallas Morning News. Not your generic state report, but real. You helped me with that back in the day some too.
Right.
With the Dallas Morning News. But it was an in-depth thing. Invariably, I'd give a water temperature, Lake Fork, 51 degrees, whatever.
Right.
Well, that would be an average temperature of people that I'd interview, you, others. What's the temperature, Dennis? It's running between 51 and 56, you know, on the main lake. I'd report an average. And usually some old codger about my age right now would call up, Luke reported a temperature, I measured it at 57 degrees. Well, he was back up in some cove, you know. So
it just, right.
Yeah, so I'd have to respond. But water temperature, what I'm getting at, it fluctuates greatly, especially when the sun's shining. So, you know.
Oh, yeah, and in afternoon sun.
Yes.
You know, those banks warm up, the ones that are getting the afternoon sun.
Yep.
And it's so different. I mean, you might be on the main lake. I'll tell you something I've also seen. I've seen the backs of the cove, some of these little cold fronts, the back of the cove, maybe the wind's blowing in there, and the back end of the cove will be colder than the water out at the mouth of the cove.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's a lot of differences, because it's just so weird, you know, the wind and the sun and how it all affects that. But you just have to really go out and look. Yeah. And it'll be different in a lot of different places.
Yep. Well, that's what makes bass fishing fun to me is I fish a little old, I say little old, it's actually a deep gravel pit 1 mile from my house. It's about 6-7 acres big, pretty good sized hole in the water, you know. And by golly, it's full of, no big bass, it's full of bass. 2, 3, sometimes you might even catch a 4-pounder occasionally.
Right.
But a lot of 2 to 3 pounders. You know they're in there, but those, you got to pattern those to catch them. You know?
Exactly.
You do. I mean, you think, well, 6 acres, you know, you can find those anytime, but they'll usually always bite. I can usually always catch them, but to me, that's kind of challenging, you know, just I got a little old 14-foot boat and get out there and figure them out, you know, but it's the same principle, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, one thing that I would tell people to concentrate on too is wind.
Yep.
The wind plays such a factor, like some of these points and stuff with these like glide baits and jerk baits and chatter baits. You know, if you're moving those moving baits like that, I've been on some windy points where you might pull up there and catch, you know, 2 or 3 over 7 and an 8. And if you go in there when it's dead slick, you don't get bit.
Right, right.
So,
the wind. Yeah.
So like I say, the water temp, the wind, and all those things that you're looking for, just don't always hate the wind. You know, it's really pretty good. Now, if it's blowing 30 out of the north, you know, I'm not a fan of that.
No. Right. Well, Dennis, the thing is, especially fishing open water schooling species, but bass are the same. I mean, wind. Bill Dance. I've recorded hours with Bill Dance, and I remember him saying this. He would said it many times. He said, "Luke, here's the thing. People think that the wind blows the bait fish toward the bank." He said, "That's not what's happening." He said, "The zooplankton and stuff like that is up in there, and the wind does push vegetation, little microscopic things that these bait fish eat. That's why the bait fish are there, and that's why the bass are there, you know?"
Yeah, they all follow, exactly.
The food chain, if you will. So the wind on, a long point or whatever, if the wind's blowing into it, I know that'd be a good place to try, wouldn't it, you know?
Absolutely. I have so many stories over the years of the wind, like the phenomenal fishing in the wind, where it makes it really harder to fish on me.
Yeah. Yep.
But after you figure it out, I'll go straight to the wind.
Straight there.
It'd be the first thing, if it, you know, and you just know, because you go right back, like I say, when it's dead slick, nothing.
Yep. If you were to pick and I've caught fish, and you have too, and everybody listening, bass on a dead calm day. But looking back, you know, it seemed a little, I won't say chop, but a little ripple on a little wind. I don't know. I've been told that it diffuses the surface, where when the fish are not quite as spooky. Who knows what a fish thinks, you know?
Exactly. I think it does exactly that, what you're saying, that it just stirs up all that plankton. It makes those shad move. Those fish know, I mean, they do it for a living, you know?
Yeah.
And they know that when the wind blows, all those things are happening, and it breaks up, refracts the light.
Yeah.
And, you know, fish, I think, like in low light conditions or different light conditions, feel a lot different safety, you know, when they're moving and hunting and feeding, you know, so I think they're easier to catch when you just got those things that are in your favor, you know, the wind and the light and the, you know.
Yeah.
So
natural.
Yeah,
thing.
It's good to target that.
Yes, sir. Well, here's a question, Dennis. As far, of course, you have been guiding on fork for a long time, decades. But
yes, sir.
Yeah. The size of bass. I mean, it is prime time right now to catch a big bass. But and I really don't know this firsthand, but you do. Are fish in the, say, 6 to 8 pound range now? This current time, pretty common.
Oh yeah. This is getting to where, you know, there's going to be a lot of those. You know, of course, you know, those size of fish. You know, like 1 to 3 pounders. There's 10 million of them, right? And then you know, 4 to 6 pounders. There's X amount of hundreds of thousands. And the bigger they get, the less of them they are. Of course,
right?
You know,
Exactly.
Up to 15 or whatever pounds, but. Yeah, there's a lot in Lake Fork. I'm just telling you, there's so many fish from 6 to 10 pounds.
Yes, that was my question. That's what I was thinking.
That are fixing to move up, and it's a any day deal. And you know, everybody knows. I mean, that's why spring's super popular. Everybody knows that this is a time when there's a huge number of big bass that are getting and staying for long periods in shallow water.
90% of the fish are in 10% of the water right now.
Yeah. And so,
Yep.
you're able to get, anglers are able to get baits in front of them where most of the year when those fish are backed out, coming in and out and moving or whatever, just harder for me included or anyone.
Oh, yeah.
Or just your average angler to get a bait in front of them.
Exactly. Yep.
And so it's just a little easier, but there's a lot of them getting ready to move up. And I mean, they are extremely fat and just, I think, we haven't had a lot of teen fish the last few years. We had a couple of 15s 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
And I thought we would have one last year or two, but the weather went really bad. The conditions during the prime time were really bad. So I just got a feeling this year that we are fixing to hit a few lunker fish. And because what I'm seeing fish wise the last 3 or 4 years, they're setting stage for that,
That's right.
For those length of fish to be really big.
Well, Dennis, speaking of timing, our time is about, they're telling me we're about out. We could, like I say, we could spend the rest of the day talking. Dennis Canada, folks, Dennis Canada, been guiding on Fork forever. You won't find a better bass guide. Dennis, how do they contact you, buddy?
Well, my number is 903-335-6524. You can call me or text me. Texting's not bad, because how all these telemarketers are getting on you nowadays.
Yep. Yeah, I know.
But that would be the way to do it, and look forward to anybody that reaches out, to getting with them and helping them out.
You bet you. Well, thanks a lot, Dennis. We'll get you here about 2 or 3 weeks. I want to get you back and kind of give us a report on how it's going. Thank you, buddy.
Will do. Yeah.
Well, friends, if you find yourself on Highway 175 heading southeast out of Dallas toward Kaufman and Athens, East Texas, you'll pass right by Crandall, Texas. Well, don't pass by. Exit right there. You'll see a big sign, Cotton Gin Restaurant. Whip in there, order you a chicken fried steak or one of the awesome items on their menu. They have live music at times on the weekends, an outdoor venue. It's just a great, fun place with some awesome food. You can go online to cottongincrandall.com and check them out. You'll probably see old Luke chowing down on a chicken fried steak when you get there.
Big Sam left Seattle in the year of 92 with George Pratt, his partner, and brother Billy too. They crossed the
Friends, this segment is made possible by Platinum Cadillac and Chevrolet in Terrell, Texas. Stop by and visit with my buddy Mr. Justin Rudd and his team of experts and let them put you in a new Chevy pickup or a Cadillac or whatever you might be in the market for. Also, the Choctaw Hunting Lodge up in southeast Oklahoma. Check them out at ChoctawHuntingLodge.com. Also made possible by Pyramid Air, your one-stop shop for everything airgun related. Well, friends, our next guest is Mr. Jeff Rice, my longtime buddy. We just got off the water fishing with another long-time friend, Mr. Donnie Rice, on his private waters. He owns, about 280 acres of private water that used to be an old gravel pit dug back in the 50s, but it is chock full of blue catfish. And Jeff and I joined Mr. Donnie just yesterday, and we caught a ton of blue catfish. Jeff, let's talk about blue catfish and jug lines. What do you say?
Let's do. I mean, that was a first for me, my friend. And I tell you what, I don't believe I've ever had that much fun. We killed them, and it was just a blast.
It was. And that's what I've told my nuppaper article that I wrote. I brought that out, and it runs in a bunch of newspapers, and I kind of covered it in depth. But, yeah, jug line fishing, and out on, of course, we were on private land, private waters, but 280 acres of private water. That's kind of a mini lake, Jeff, in a way. When I was a boy growing up, I would have thought that was the Pacific Ocean, But, so jug lines. And actually, the term jug line started back when there were old glass gallon jugs of milk that the milkman used to deliver to your house back in eons ago, and then put a stopper in that thing. So that morphed into plastic jugs, a Clorox bottle or whatever, any kind of plastic jug that would float. And basically, the premise of it is simple. Of the old jug lines, you tie a fishing line on it and put a couple of hooks on it, maybe a weight, throw it out in the water, and it just drifts along with the wind. But, Jeff, what we were using is the modern-day version of jug lines. They were swimming pool noodles, and with a piece of PVC pipe through the middle of them, and to that the fishing line is attached. But tell everybody how we set up to do it. I think some people might benefit from this,
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was quite amazing. I had never done this before. I'd seen the jug lines before, but these were the modern day jug lines like you just mentioned or described. And of course, we put some cut bait on the hook, and we just kind of rode the shoreline a little bit. We wanted to make sure that they would drift out and down toward the southern end of the lake, if you will. Wind was a little bit out of the north, so we dumped them all kind of in a line, kind of scattered. We just motor along, and we would throw one out periodically and kind of just scatter them out. And then we backed off a bit and just watched. I mean, it's a watching game, and all of a sudden you'll see one bobbing, and then you'll just see it moving off to the side, and it's like, okay, we got one. And then it's just a matter of motoring over there and getting up next to it. And we had a little gaff that we could just reach down and grab the line and just pull it up. You grab the jug itself, or the noodle, if you will, and we just pull that into the boat, grab the line, and there would be just about every fish we caught was an absolutely beautiful, a blue catfish. And I would say the smallest one we got was probably 3 or 4 pounds.
Yeah.
The rest of them were all up to 15 pounds, I think we caught them.
Yep, you're right. And watching the jugs or the noodles, we'll start calling them modern day noodles now. But getting back a distance, put them out, and there's 2 ways to put them out. Now, if you're on the main lake, most of you listening are going to be fishing with noodles on the bigger lakes. So it's important to mark your noodles, who you are, your contact information. Check all the regulations out if you're going to fish open, public lakes with them. But you need to mark them so if somebody comes up. And then do not put out more than you can watch, because I fished on big lakes with these some too, and it's easy there to get detached from one, have it float off somewhere. So we had 22 out, but we were in an area that if they were kept on blowing, we missed one, it would go, sooner or later, it would wind up on that south shoreline. So wind direction is really, really important when you're doing that, because you want to put them out, and then you need to know which direction they're going, and that, they'll slowly drift with the wind depending on wind speed. But it's so much fun. That same lake, Donnie Rice and I and his brother Lawrence, I looked it up. It was 13 years ago. From there on back, when we used to fish and hunt together so much, and it was kind of like a reunion coming back home for me to get back with Donnie. He and his brother. You look up outdoorsman in the dictionary, Jeff, and those guys, their picture's probably going to be there, But a lot of fun, just a lot of fun too. But I used to fish that with I think maybe you have the boat that I used to use, the new canoe, and then I used to have a little bass buster before that, little small boat. And I'd get out there, and I wouldn't set out 22, but I'd set out about 6 or 8 and just paddle around, and always caught them. But I don't think I ever caught them then or anywhere else. Like you say, it was phenomenal. We could have kept fishing and I think we kept about, 18 or 20, something like that of these. That's a lot of fillets, folks. But we could have kept fishing, and I'm sure we could have caught that many again, Jeff,
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I noticed too is, periodically we would have a noodle that would just kind of sit there and bounce. It wouldn't do anything. And it'd been like that for, a half hour. And you need to go back and check them periodically just to make sure there's bait. Because there's a few we pulled out that probably got hit and we never saw it.
Yep.
Pulled the bait off and it's just sitting there bobbing. So you got to check them too as throughout the day, as you throw them out, you watch, because sometimes, man, I tell you what, sometimes you'd look and you go, I think I saw that one move, and then you'd look again and it's like, well, maybe not. And next thing you know, it's moving.
Your eyes will play tricks on you. And really, we were fishing in the boat that Donnie Rice has rigged up for shooting gar with a bow. So there's elevated platforms, and you get up there. We were looking sometimes, Jeff. We were probably looking 200 or 300 yards away at those noodles and just watching them. But if you have any adrenaline in your body, when you see one of those things, some of those big fish pulled them under.
Oh, I mean, they were pulling them and they were hauling butt across the lake. It's like, oh my God. Well, we did catch the one gar too.
Yes.
That was what? 4 foot long. It was
he was
size gar,
4 or 5 foot long, big old gar.
That and a bowfin. We caught a bowfin as well.
That's a big one too, wasn't it? You know, yeah,
good size one.
So we turned. Jeff took about half, and I took about half the fish, and we turned them into fillets. Now my fillets, Jeff, we have time to mention this, but I got them all cubed up into small bite-sized pieces. You've probably already eaten some with your wife. I bet you had some for dinner last night.
Delicious.
You can attest. Well, what I'm alluding to, folks, is the 28th of March in Greenville, Texas. Greenville is about an hour east of Dallas, right on Interstate 30, the 7th annual Outdoor Rendezvous. They call it the Luke Clayton's Outdoor Rendezvous. I did get it started years ago. Me and Mr. Friendly, who was a radio personality, he passed away, Friendly did, so we're still waving the flag. We're going to have it at the Top Rail Cowboy Church, and everybody's invited. I know that a lot of you are listening on radio stations that are not close to Dallas, and some of you are listening to a podcast. You may be in Timbuktu, I don't know. But if you're in North Texas on March the 28th, come out to the Top Rail Cowboy Church in Greenville, Texas. You can Google that and get directions to the Top Rail Cowboy Church, Greenville. And, Jeff, they can also go to my website, catfishradio.org, and the brochure is there, isn't it, you know?
Absolutely. And I highly recommend our listening audience out here to come. This will be the 7th year. Every year is just a blast. It gets bigger. It gets better. There's just so much fun. So many people. Great. The weather, we've been blessed every year with great weather. We'll have a big campfire going. There'll be several campfires and people cooking stuff. And it's just so much fun. I highly recommend that if you've got nothing to do, you come out to the rendezvous, because all of us will be there. It'll be a special time. It'll be a heck of a lot of fun. It won't disappoint you, I promise.
You nailed it, Jeff. Well, Jeff, thanks for being with me and telling folks about jug line fishing. It's not rod and reel fishing. It's not trot lining either, but it's a whole bunch of fun. If you fish on the main lakes, just make sure and check your regulations. Cut bait is rough fish. All that is okay. Shad is perfectly okay to use, but check your local regulations before you do any jug line fishing. Jeff, thank you, buddy, for being with us. And let
me throw something out there, Luke. If our listening audience here wants to get a visual on what we did, go to A Sportsman's Life. Just go to YouTube, type in A Sportsman's Life in the search engine. You can find us there. We'll have the show out in probably another week. And or Carbon TV for those of you that stream your media stuff. Carbon TV is our show is housed there as well, and that's carbontv.com if you want to check it out. It's free. Go watch it, and I know you'll get the feel of what we all experienced, and it'll get you sparked up to go out and try it yourself.
That's right, Jeff. Well, thanks again, buddy. Folks, I want to tell you about one of my long-term partners, and that is Pyramid Air. The website is pyramayd.com. They're a one-stop shop for everything airgun related. Big bores, little bores, PCP guns, springers, you name it. All different brands, some great airgun supplies, but also a whole lot more. Archery, ammo, optics, shooting and outdoor gear, action sports, all this stuff can be found right there and ordered through Pyramid Air. So remember, go online to pyramayd.com.
I just want to thank you, Lord, for every time you've heard me pray. Just want to thank you for always being there.
Friends, I've been shooting and hunting with CVA muzzleloaders a long time. They are, in my opinion, the best muzzleloaders on the market. But did you know CVA also makes a very fine line of centerfire rifles, built to last and super accurate. Been hunting with those for several years. Check them both out, the muzzleloaders and the centerfires, online at CVA.com. Folks, I want to introduce you to some good friends of mine at Dash for Cash Pawn Shop in Seagoville, Texas, located at 133 Hall Street. The phone number is 972-287-3121. Go by there and talk with Gary or Randy, the owner. They're great people. They've got some great prices. Again, that's the Dash for Cash Pawn Shop, Seagoville, Texas, 972-287-3121. Well, friends, that was bluegrass legend Larry Sparks. And guess who our guest is next? It is Mr. Larry Sparks, a friend of mine and somebody I'd like you to know more about. I'd like to get Larry to talk about maybe the early days, his early days of performing bluegrass music. I think you're going to enjoy this. Well, Mr. Sparks, thank you a lot for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk some bluegrass with us today.
Thank you. Good to be with you. We can, I think we did a little interview with you, talked to you some time ago, but good to be back with you.
Well, I consider you a friend after spending a couple of times recording with you. I feel like I know you, but I do know a lot about you. I know your music, and Larry, you know, you're a pioneer in bluegrass music, but I'm a huge fan, and some of the songs that you've recorded, I just want to thank you, Lord, and the John Deere tractor, they come to mind. I would imagine those two, I don't know, were probably, I bet, some of your more popular songs. Is that right?
Oh, them two songs has helped her way pretty good. Yeah, it's I do things that suit me. You know, I take if someone pitches me a song that they've wrote, and I'll take it and, you know, see what I can do with it. And if it matches me, if it suits me, and I might have to change a few words, you know, here and there, or maybe a line or two to make it suit me, because I keep my music, my words simple that I can understand, and that I give them to people that they can understand. You know, I make stuff out of it. The song becomes me, and I become the song, you know.
That's right. I remember talking to you maybe the last time, Larry, and I'm a very, very, very amateurish guitar player. I know the basics of on the guitar, but I was kind of bragging on your guitar picking. If I could do that, oh my gosh. But you said I don't remember how you actually said it, but you said you make your guitar sound like your voice or something way above my head, but that you blend the guitar right in with your voice, and I know that's been a big key for your success.
Well,
yeah.
Melody is very important to me. When I play my breaks or on the guitar, it's I play the a lot like the way I sing, and I play the instead of using a lot of notes, I use melody, and play with maybe pulls and slides and however I do it, however I feel it, I just go for it.
Yeah,
and it comes out some way it'll come out. I never know. But,
well, yeah, watching you play, it looks like it almost looks like you're not even. I have to concentrate on chords and all that kind of stuff, but it just looks like it looks so natural when you're playing, and I think it is. After I don't think you really have to. It doesn't look like you're really even thinking about where the fingers are. They just go there, and the music comes out. You know.
I love that's true. It really is natural place, a natural feel, and I'm playing matches my singing. You know.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Matches playing matches my singing, and it's I've come up with I haven't come up with it. It was just natural for me to have a different style, different way of singing and playing. You know, it's my own style, and you know, it's different, and other people has their styles too. But I've come up with my own way of doing things. You know who it is when you hear
it. Exactly. Tell us about when did you start playing and singing? You know, I know a year or so ago when we talked about this, it was pretty early in life, wasn't it?
I was 6 years old and made $5.
Yep. Yeah. Well, how about that? You made like a event or something? Were you playing?
I played in the church.
Yeah.
Sung that old song, "There Ain't No Grave Gonna Hold My Body Down."
That was your first gig, right?
Yeah, by myself. Didn't have no band or anything.
I'll be well. So then what? So you weren't managing Larry Sparks then. You were just doing what probably came natural. Then I guess later on, did you play some local gigs and all that?
Yeah, I would play some local stuff up till I was probably in my early teens.
Yeah,
you know, played here and there, and just different people and different musicians around, local musicians. You know.
Yeah, and when did you decide? As an old outdoor writer, I know there was a time when it clicked on me. Hey, wait a minute. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I write for newspapers and magazines, hunting and fishing stuff, Larry. You know that. And do the radio show and all that. But there was a time when that clicked in me. But there's probably a time you said, wait a minute. You know, this is probably what I need to be doing in life. That probably happened as a teenager, I'm going to guess.
Oh, yeah. It's just always natural for me. Mm-hmm. Growing up, we didn't have. My dad was mother's from Kentucky, and they come across the river here in Indiana and Ohio for work back in the 1920s.
Yeah,
1920s and 30s, and you know, I was raised the old way, the old-fashioned way, and when TV came in, we didn't have no TV, and we didn't have no telephone. We had radio.
Yep.
That's all I had was a radio, you know, and finally got used to it. And, but we didn't have nothing extra, you know, like that. But,
yeah. You know, Larry, I remember I was 6 years old when we first got a TV. That was in 1956. And we didn't get, I grew up in northeast Texas, up in Red River County. And I was about 12 before we got an air conditioner, you know. I was about 12 when we got our first telephone. So a lot of younger people, they're going, wait a minute. That's the way it was back then.
Oh, yeah. That's the way it was. And the old timers, you know, they believed in, they were workers, you know. They were workers.
Yeah.
And as they believed in working, providing a home for themselves and their family.
Yeah.
And take care of things, you know. I have a lot of respect for the older
generation. I do too. They had to. Life was so different. It was much more simple. But I will say this: it's there's things like radio, the way we do things today, recording and all that. I mean, that was unheard of. Some of the things we do today, and sending sound immediately by email and all that kind of stuff. But so. When did you form your first band, Larry? You know?
Well, I guess, I kind of put things together back when I was like 16, you know. Mm-hmm. I got my driver's license, and started calling a few people around to play, you know. not really having a band, but I was pulling people together,
Yeah.
Stanley got with me when I was, I think about 17, and Stanley brothers, Carter and Ralph, they wanted me to play the guitar for them.
Yeah.
Play lead guitar. And so I took that up and worked with them. Off and on, year and a half, 2 years, I guess, just playing the guitar,
Yeah. Yeah.
lead guitar. And Carter passed away in 1966.
Mm-hmm.
Carter Stanley. And in February of 67, Ralph came out and asked me would I be interested in singing with him, taking, Carter's place.
Yeah.
Sing. And we tried that and it worked fine. We suited each other. Well, I did what he wanted, not what I wanted,
Yeah. Yep.
And but what he wanted and what I did was still natural for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the older music I was used to, and the older singers, from the back in the 40s, 50s,
Yeah.
30s, and
You were there. You were one of them. I mean, Mac Wiseman, did you ever do much? I know you did, bound to have.
Mac Wiseman was a good singer, good entertainer. He sure was. And played a lot of shows with Mac around the country. Yeah.
There was in southeast Oklahoma, Dahlia Bell, I think. They had the Hugo Bluegrass Festival. That wasn't the name of Blue Bonnet Bluegrass Festival. Southeast Oklahoma. But I met Mac one time right there. I bet maybe you played that Bluegrass Festival. That'd been back in the 70s, I guess, or 80s. But
I could have. I worked a lot for Bill Grant out there.
Bill Grant, that's who it was. And
Bill Grant.
Yeah, and then I guess Dahlia Bell or something. I remember a lady bluegrass. Rose. What was the name?
I remember they called her Delia Bell.
Delia Bell. That's right. I remember Rose Maddox was there one time. And Larry, I used to go every year. I was young family. I remember Mac Wiseman was behind. There was a little stage back behind the big stage, little platform. I was in my 20s, just a kid. I had a daughter. Our little daughter, about 5 years old. Mac was back there by himself, and I always, I thought he was really he was a great singer. Anyway, I walked up real shy, and my little daughter was there, and Mac introduced himself, and we talked a little bit, and they were announcing him. I never will forget this, on the big stage in the front, and from the state of Virginia, Mac, whatever there, and I said, I was getting nervous. I said, Mr. Wiseman, they're calling your name. I'll never forget this. He looked at me and smiled. He said, let's let them call it one more time, son.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty human of him to say that,
Yeah.
Yeah. But you could probably write a book. You might have done that. I'm an old outdoor writer. I'm not, but all that, the early days like that. I mean, you were there, and by golly, you're still there. You still do a lot of shows, don't you?
Bill Grant was a good man to work with.
Was he? Yep.
Hugo, yes, he was. He always was. We always got along fine.
Yep.
Bill.
That's good. Well, Larry Sparks is our guest, folks, and Larry, for people to learn more about your music, or I know you perform a lot, up in the eastern part of the country, but how do they learn more or, hear your music? Is there like a website or something?
Yeah, we do have a website, and I have the lady who runs my Facebook for me.
Facebook, that'd be good, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she runs that. It's Larry. You just go to Larry Sparks. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, I think we're friends there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My website is LarrySparksMusic.com.
Yes, sir.
And that's two ways that people get up with me and follow my music. Then I go to the people. I've done all my music as a business. I've done it all myself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I didn't go through a management company or someone that doing this for me, and that I did it myself. And I went to radio stations. I went to this one. I went to that one, all over the United States, you know, and worked a lot across the United States, different shows. But I did it myself.
Yeah.
And I learned. I did it the hard way, and it worked. You know,
it does. I can relate to that as an old outdoor writer. I got into radio 20 years ago, Larry, and I didn't know. I literally did not know anything, and I got hooked up with Bill Mack. His news. Dan Foster was Bill Mack's newsman, and he actually, Dan, taught me the basic stuff of doing what we're doing right now. You know, well, thank you so much, man, for being with us. I know you're a busy guy, and I think we're all about hunting and fishing here on Catfish Radio, but to have Larry Sparks as a guest, I'll get away from the shotgun and the rod and reel for a little bit just to have you on with me. So it's an honor for you to be here, Larry, and thank you very much.
Good to be with you. I go to the people, and I have for years, and I continue on, and I don't have to change my music or change anything to be more popular and be more famous. When I went in this business and music full time, I didn't look at it as I want to be famous. I want to be rich. I want to make money.
Right.
But sure, we got to make a little money along. But I mean, I never look at it as, you know, wanting to be this famous. You know, I'd be a star.
Right. Yeah.
But I have become that over about 63 years.
you have, Larry.
A lot of people.
Well, hats off to you, buddy, and maybe again we'll get you back. I enjoy having you on, and thank you very much for being our guest, Larry. Folks, that about wraps our show up for this week. I've enjoyed being with you, and I hope you've had a good time, too. And, folks, we're also brought to you by the Choctaw Hunting Lodge up in southeast Oklahoma, located about, 45 minutes west of Hugo, Oklahoma, owned by the Choctaw Nation. It's about 45,000 acres of awesome mountain, country, hills, valleys, loaded with game. Lots of eastern turkey, and they do eastern turkey hunts if you're looking for a spot to hunt turkey in the spring.